Hi, I'm Hsiaowen Chen, and I'm a student in the Department of Health, Kinesiology, and Applied Physiology here at Concordia University. And over the summer of 2020, I was a Concordia Undergraduate Student Research Award recipient, and with my supervisors, Dr. Andreas Bergdahl and Dr. Mary Roberts, we were able to determine if online dance classes could be used to improve the postural stability of older adults. So why are we interested in postural stability? So first off, postural stability is just our ability to stay upright, balanced, and not fall. And we're interested in it because 1 in 3 older adults will fall each year. Additionally, falls can cause 85% of injury-related hospitalizations and 95% of hip fractures, which are a major concern for older adults. And we see this increase in falls as we age for a couple different reasons. So one could be decreases in our 3 systems of balance. So those would be our visual system, our proprioceptive system, and our vestibular systems. And those are really natural. And we also see natural age-related declines in mobility and muscle strength. So we can try and target the age-related declines in mobility and muscle strength with exercise. So adapted dance is a form of exercise that's been increasing in popularity in the past couple of years. And adapted dance just means dance that's adapted to the levels and the needs of the students. So it's emerged as a method of improving postural stability because it's a fun, social, and engaging form of physical activity. And previous studies on traditional Greek dances have actually found that it can improve postural stability due to improved strength of the lower limbs. Additionally, a study on tango was able to find that it improved the confidence that students had in their ability to stay balanced. And it's speculated that dance can lead to these outcomes because it has a lot of single leg standing time, a lot of weight shifts, and a lot of body rotations, which challenge our systems of balance and our muscles to stay upright. And so for our study, we are interested in determining whether the improvements found in previous studies could be found when the dance classes were held online. So our study was investigating whether 8 weeks of online dance classes over Zoom could improve the postural stability of older adults aged 65 and up. So for our pilot study, we recruited 10 older adults who had an average age of 73, using online ads in local community center newsletters and also local Facebook groups. And before and after the dance classes, we had our participants complete a postural stability assessment where we were assessing sway displacement. So sway is the natural movement that we have when we're standing still. So even when we're standing still, we all have a natural tendency to move just a tiny bit. And so sway displacement is just the amount of movement we have when we're standing still. And it's what we hope to see go down with the dance classes. So to complete the postural stability assessment, we asked our participants to set up their Zoom camera so that we're able to see their entire body. So from their toes all the way to their head. And then we had them complete 30-second trials where they're standing still, feet underneath their hips, arms by their side, and looking forward. So we'd ask them to face the front and face the side for 30 seconds for these 2 types of trials. And then afterwards, we would take these videos and run them through a software called Concordia that is able to track their hip and shoulder displacement. So we'd look at anterior postural sway and also medial lateral sway. And for our statistical test, we set the significance at a p less than 0.05. So the dance classes were held over Zoom for a period of 1 hour, twice a week, and this went on for a period of 8 weeks. And we structured the dance classes to have a 15-minute warm-up, followed by 2 ballet-based exercises called pliés and tendus. So pliés being where you're standing and just bending your legs and straightening, and tendus where you're standing on one foot and letting the other one slide out in front or to the side and come back in. We followed these exercises with one that was based on Limon-style modern dance, and it had a lot more weight transfers and also bringing your body off center. So whether that's bringing your head forward or to the side, but not over your feet, so that it challenges your posture just a little bit more. And then the last exercise that we did was a cool down that just consisted of some basic stretching to finish our class. Looking at the results from our pre and post postural stability assessments, we're actually able to see a statistically significant reduction in anterior posterior hip sway over the 8 weeks of the dance classes. So this is really exciting because it indicates that the dance classes could have actually a positive effect in improving our postural stability. Now, if we're looking at medial lateral sway, we actually see on the graph that there appears to be an increase, but when we run this through statistics, it comes back non-significant, so we're not too worried about this apparent increase. Also, looking at our graph, we appear to have large standard deviations, but this is to be expected because postural stability among older adults tends to be very variable. And additionally, we're working with non-parametric statistics, so large standard deviations are not uncommon. So really, we're just focused on the anterior-posterior hip sway, which actually had a significant decrease. Just to summarize, our pilot study was able to find that online dance classes were able to significantly reduce anterior-posterior hip sway. And if we have a decrease in sway, we have an increase in postural stability. And with this increase in postural stability, we actually have a decreased risk of falls. And with this decreased risk of falls, we can have better movement acquisition, better control of movement, increased confidence that we can stay balanced and not fall, which is actually something that several of our participants noted throughout the study, and also an increase in our fitness and our quality of life. So these findings are really similar to findings from in-person classes and can show that online classes may be a viable alternative to in-person classes, and it's something that's worth continuing to explore. To reiterate what I just said, online dance classes appear to be a viable alternative to in-person classes, as they're still able to improve our postural stability. Also, having online classes allows for exercise during social distancing periods and makes exercise accessible for when it's not, for people who can't necessarily always go out and do classes in person. This provides a method to continue exercising. And this is important because we know how critical exercise is to the health of older adults. Additionally, having online classes can facilitate social connections, and we're actually able to have social connections from across Ontario and Quebec, as we had participants in Hamilton, the Greater Toronto Area, Kingston, Ottawa, and Montreal. And finally, having online classes allows for our participants to learn new skills, whether that be the movements in our dance classes or how to use Zoom. So we've actually continued on with this project through the fall and winter semesters and actually recruited more people to turn it into a larger study. And we've made some improvements based on the findings in our pilot study. So one of the first improvements that we did was increasing the difficulty of the dance classes. So this was both natural as our participants learned more movement and we were able to add on and increase complexity, but it's also based on the feedback that we got from our participants that wanted a bit of a larger challenge. So this is one improvement that we've made to our study. The second is that we've actually increased the difficulty of the postural stability assessment. So before, we were asking the participants to stand looking straight forward with their eyes open for periods of 30 seconds. And we actually noticed that a lot of our participants appeared to get bored during the assessment and get distracted, which actually led to larger sway values. And also, most of our participants were kind of surprised by the simplicity of the assessment and found it too easy. So we wanted to do something that was going to increase the complexity so that we hopefully were able to better discriminate improvements in postural stability. So provide them with a bit more of a challenge. So we've actually asked them in the fall and winter semesters to close their eyes during the 30-second trials. And we're hoping that this will lead to an easier time being able to assess the improvements in postural stability. So these two improvements that we've made, we've implemented in our fall and winter semesters, and we're continuing on with the study. I'd just like to finish by thanking a few people, the first being our participants, both new and old, for making this project possible. And second, I'd like to thank my supervisors, Dr. Andreas Bergdahl and Dr. Mary Roberts. And finally, I'd like to thank the Concordia Undergraduate Student Research Award for providing funding and giving me an opportunity to complete this research. So thank you so much to everyone for watching, and have a great day.